This is the First Descendant. We're here on PlayStation 5 Pro, and the game is indeed enhanced. Be sure to like the video. Subscribing is great as well. There's a plethora of different visual presets and options that we will be showcasing and talking about here. We've got a lot to do, a lot to dive into, so let's get rolling with it. And if you're wondering about my lower leveled character, it's because the cross progression it just does not work. I don't know. I spent like 10 minutes trying to set up website things, and I did all, like, I played this through on the Xbox. I streamed it all. Great streams, by the way. Definitely worth checking out. Just throwing it out there. And then I was like, okay, you know, the cross progression wasn't working at launch. Let's try it now. I think I somehow ended up deleting my Xbox account save. I hope not, but that's something I'll have to deal with at a later time if I ever want to stream it again and, you know, go into a panic and be like, and yeah. Anyways, so, you know, I tried. I tried. So we've got 3 different visual options and a bunch of kind of preset things. So this game is really quite tech pushing in terms of like being a very demanding game. It's a very beautiful game with some great assets in the right places. But, yeah, definitely some tech boundary issues on this one in a number of different ways. So we're going to talk about the experience and kind of the best way to take a look at it. So we've got 3 graphical choices. There's Fidelity, Balanced, and then Performance. We're on Fidelity right now. We have to go to the main menu and reset everything every time we want to change stuff. But I can kind of sit here and talk about some of the settings here. There's motion blur, on or off, whatever you want to do for that one. Doesn't matter. We've got frame gen. And we've got ray tracing, which is kind of baked in, and then we can turn it off. But the whole point of this big update in this game in general is to have like ray tracing and, you know, the effects of ray tracing. So we're going to turn frame gen on, and we're going to talk about that. So frame gen, the idea is to keep the kind of resolution quality to a degree, well, allowing you to have better frames. That's the idea of frame gen as a concept. So whenever frame gen is on, you're going to probably lose like 200-ish p. So when I'm talking about resolutions for these different modes, think about frame gen as being on, but you're losing a slight bit of resolution and fidelity, which are like, you know, same kind of thing. But you get what I mean. You're losing some visual quality when this is turned on, but you're gaining a better frame rate. Okay, let's dive in and talk about this going forward on this. So we're just gonna hold that because you gotta hold start. We're gonna turn the frame gen off. So fidelity mode is a dynamic 4K, but it's like a full 4K. It's something like 1900, 2000p, kind of in between there. It's targeting 30 FPS. You will probably notice some performance drops. Frame gen will help. Frame gen will keep things smoother, of course. Oh, and HDR across the board. So this game has ray traced ambient occlusion, RT lighting, so like the illumination system, ray traced reflections, and ray traced translucencies, and yeah, so kind of you're basically like your full ray traced suite of cool things is present here. So, you know, it's got everything, all the bells and whistles, the full visual experience. It's just something that's going to run at like a lower frame rate, right? But not a bad way to go about it. Oh, shadows too, sorry. Ray trace shadows as well. So, you know, again, the full ray tracing experience. So now we got to go back to the main menu. And this is where we're going to make another adjustment so that you can see the other options here. So we're going to go and we're going to switch the fidelity to balanced. And ray tracing will be on. Because again, the whole point of this game and the technical element of it is to have Well, the ray tracing. I leveled up. All I was doing was standing there. I am, honestly, like, I've played through this. I am a high level. I've seen all the beautiful, gorgeous, stunning characters. And I think this game does look visually just breathtaking here. Like, you know, it's quite amazing. But, yeah, it is, like, performance-wise, you know, leaves a little bit to be desired for sure. Okay, so for this mode, which is the balanced mode, this also has all the same ray trace settings, the ambient occlusion, the lighting, the shadows, the reflections, the translucencies. This one is a dynamic 4K. It's more like 1600p, and it's at like 40 FPS targeting. So it's attempting to be like a 40 FPS mode. So this one gives you a little bit more fluidity, a little bit of better feeling. You're still going to see some drops gameplay-wise in the performance, but you're still getting like a high picture quality, but you're getting a little bit more of a frame rate here, which makes this a lot better of an option to go for. And I will say across the board, from a ray tracing off perspective, it should be assisting your game like probably 5 to 10 FPS depending on the situation. Because again, it's like this game, it's basically an MMORPG kind of thing, so similar a little bit to Destiny. So you'll get situations that are a lot more chaotic than other situations where there's a lot more characters fighting on the screen. There's a lot more shooting going on. It's a lot more frantic. There's more explosions, different planets, different scenarios, different kind of stresses. It's kind of hard to fully give you exact numbers when this game is so distinctly varied, because you just get to see so many different things in this game. But from a lighting and a gameplay perspective, I do think this one looks really, really quite beautiful. So balanced mode, not a bad way to play it, especially if you want to get like the full feature set that you can have in this game and still have, you know, an okay frame rate kind of thing going on. I really do appreciate the option of 40 FPS in video games. I think it's a great option. And then we're going to turn on the frame gen, just so that you can kind of see that in action. And you will, like, you need 120 hertz, you need the VRR, variable refresh rate, to kind of give you these better options in terms of actually hitting your, like, fluidity, hitting this stuff, actually having VRR kick in and kind of use things. So hopefully that doesn't create, like, a flickering kind of effect on your screen. It depends on your TV and all this other stuff. And as I said, there is a plethora of different visual things that are a part of this experience. And I really do hope I'm showcasing this. I know we're not necessarily talking about the game and what it is as much, but I'm assuming you're here more to kind of get an idea of the performance levels and the visuals and how good this looks. And it is a bump up over the PS5 in terms of pushing things a little bit higher, especially in these like lower resolution options, but it's also like, you know, still something where I'm thinking it's going to be more like, should this game survive, which I think it will, because it's got the aesthetics going on that people love, if you know what I mean. I think you'll see this like PS6 be kind of like where this game really just hits. You know what I'm saying? Really, really kind of hits off. So now we're getting back into the game again. So we've turned on the performance mode. I know, exciting, right? So we're going to be talking about the performance mode. And I think you could immediately notice the fluidity increase and the resolution drop, because it definitely doesn't look as good. It looks kind of really ugly, like it's kind of broken, like her neck is fuzzy. I mean, she's got great assets going on, but I don't know if that shows up very well on the recording side of things, but it's like, it's kind of got like a fuzziness to it. Really, really weird. Huh, it's like it's almost like weirdly blurred, not like a motion blur thing, but it's just such a resolution difference. Okay, So for this mode, we have some toned down visual stuff in this one. So this one, with the ray tracing still on, we're getting like ray traced ambient occlusion, RT like lighting, the illumination, the ray trace lighting, and the translucencies. But we're losing the reflection and shadow techniques. And this one has a dynamic resolution scaling from 1440p. So it's something that's more like it's it's pretty close. I think it's like 1300p-ish usually. And this is 60 FPS targeting. You might get some drops here or there. Uh-oh, a big ship popping in with this mode as well. It is just, yeah, it is quite toned down visually in terms of like the quality of like the environment too. It just feels a lot less visually impressive. Like it's quite, I feel like it's almost bugged or something like that. It just doesn't, it looks a bit off is the thing. Like it definitely looks like something that's running at a lower resolution, but it's also like a lot of stuff has like weird fuzz and stuff which doesn't look quite right. A bit off visually from that perspective. But yeah, you do get the 60 FPS targeting thing, which obviously feels a lot better for performance. And then we're going to turn on the frame gen. So frame gen, I think, kind of really does actually smooth out the picture a lot. But as I said, you're getting that loss of resolution a little bit more across the board on, on average and stuff like that. So still actually makes it feel a lot kind of smoother. I don't know if that's even going to be necessarily like a perfect kind of solution for this one. Like it's still like a really visually impressive game. It honestly is. But you can certainly see how this kind of impacts the game across the different modes. We're going to go ahead and do this mission so that you can see just some of the combat in action on the performance mode, because I'm assuming most are probably going to opt to do performance, because I'm assuming most people like their shooters to have fluidity to them, and still want them to look okay. But I would say actually maybe giving the balance mode a try if you have like that sort of ability to might be something that's good for you. So I am also gonna go and I'm gonna turn off the frame gen. And we're mostly just trying to give you an idea of the different settings here and a little bit of the action. So we'll talk about visual stuff in a sec, because I do want to show you a non-ray traced environment as well. So you get an idea of that. But I will talk about the game. It is a free-to-play MMORPG experience where it definitely goes for a bit more of a aesthetically pleasing design for character models. It's something that feels a little bit more classic. It's got just an array of completely beautiful individuals that wear scantily clothing, and they have big assets. And there's actually, I was reading it, it looks like the devs are going to be adding jiggle physics, so when that update comes out, we will, of course, revisit this game, naturally, to do a video about that. So, stay tuned, and hopefully, at that point, I will have the cross-progression fixed, because... Oh, that drives me crazy. I tried really hard to get it going for this game. I really genuinely did. And it just... There's so many like account issues, and it's like the Sony account didn't want to link on certain web browsers, and then it like deleted everything I had, wanted me to restart, and then unlinking it kind of brought it back, and then... I just hope the Xbox account progress isn't gone, because I grinded a lot of stuff in that. Because, you want the beautiful looking characters and whatnot. So the game is mostly akin to typical MMORPGs. You go from one area to the next, shooting, blasting things. There's a bit of a loose story going together as these different characters talk. You meet a new person, you go to the next mission. Naturally, you have people that are playing around in the world with you, and they kind of drop in and drop out depending on the mission you're doing and the goals and everything like that. And then there's different characters. You level the different characters, and there's these otherworldly events that go on, and you'll work together to essentially kind of battle against these forces and save the day, and there's this really intense opening segment, and you have different abilities, and yeah, there's a lot going on. Am I not in the right battle zone? Oh, I gotta go down. Okay. We gotta move to the next territory. Oh, that's it for that mission. Wow, that was exciting. Edge of your seat thrill ride is what that was. So there is a lot to this game, and a lot of leveling, a lot of grinding, and there's like also like a wave-based battle area here. And it's not bad. Like, it's a pretty serviceable shooter. It's just also like very kind of like run-of-the-mill, typical kind of thing. Again, I have streams of it, so if you need to see regular gameplay in action, that's kind of the best way to go about it, I would say. Alright, so now we're going to back out. And we're going to show you performance, and we're going to take off the ray tracing type of thing. And I don't know if we need to show off the higher resolution modes without the ray tracing thing, because I don't know if that's what people will necessarily go for. Well, you know, because if you're taking the feature sets off, you probably will not care about like the performance of like 30 FPS and stuff like that, is what I'm theorizing. But you know, let me know if I'm wrong. That's totally fair. So this is turning off the ray tracing stuff, and you'll gain a bit more fluidity in scenarios and setups. And we'll jump back into the mix of the combat, and yeah. Anyways, it's kind of cool. I think the characters are really appealing. I know a lot of people that have actually gotten like really, really into this game. They spend a lot of time playing it. They have a lot of fun with it. Bought some expensive in-game character things, certain bunny outfits for $100 or so, I've heard from some people. Which I'm like, wow, okay, that's a good indicator that something's doing well, if it's getting people to, you know, kind of drop that on things. Otherwise, you can kind of grind stuff in the game, you can earn different items, they're pretty expansive systems, they've added some seasonal content. There's actually quite a bit to this game. Like, it does have a good amount of gameplay, you know, content, and it's kind of intriguing, and I do like that you can kind of like flop in and out of things, and there's lots of different environments and locations and places to go, and it's a neat game to me. I think, yeah, I don't know how to describe it. The performance mode, I feel like, is a bit rougher than it was when I played it kind of at the launch and stuff like that. I don't know if that's because its PS5 Pro enhancement kind of needs a little bit of tweaking, but yeah, I would say probably the frame rate, like the performance mode, is kind of the way to go. If you don't care about the ray tracing stuff, you get a little bit more fluidity. I don't know if it's as much of a improvement to the degree that will completely make it worth it dropping it. I would personally say do performance mode, keep the ray tracing on, maybe do the frame gen if you feel you need it because you're not getting things smooth, and then you get like a pretty good looking picture. And then you also get, you know, okay resolution, okay fluidity. It's, yeah, that's kind of what I would sort of recommend here. And if you have the balance mode option and are okay with the slightly lower but still somewhat fluid resolution, I would say go with the balance mode and maybe frame gen and keep the ray tracing effects on. I'm saying keeping the ray tracing effects on because it makes this game look like a current gen game, and it kind of gives you the most of your stuff. So it was cool to jump in here and take a look at the First Descendant again. I'm sure I will follow this up at some point with another video showcasing this game, and I guess if not, I'll probably be taking a look at this on the PlayStation 6 down the road, and that should be fun. And I don't know, I kind of been meaning to jump back and play some of this. I hope my save on Xbox isn't gone. It would be really nice to get that going and to get this on PlayStation and show you some more later game content. So if you do want to see that kind of thing, you know, let me know. And yeah, I hope this was a good enough showcase and just kind of talking about the visual tech here and everything like that and how it impacts the game, and gives you an idea of even how the world's running and kind of looking across the different modes. Like I said, there's quite a few different settings, and turning ray tracing on and off, and frame gen, and then it is interesting that we're getting a lot more PC-like features on consoles. I think that's just fascinating here on the Pro.